this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 weird ways to shift parallel reality timelines. These are things that once you know can change your whole entire life, because then you end up on a different timeline. Welcome back to another video. My name's Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, we're going to go deeper on understanding that of parallel realities. And if you don't know already, parallel realities sometimes can be more powerful than what we think of as the law of attraction, because it's actually closer to how reality works. Because reality, as much as we think as it is something like we are over here, we're attracting something from over there to into here, the more accurate idea is that we are shifting to realities that seem very, very similar. However, we start to shift ourselves to the ones that we prefer or the ones that we are focused on. So the idea is that there's an infinite number of parallel realities that exist. And the reality version of you that is doing exactly what you want to be doing, that has the perfect partner, that does everything that you want to be doing, that already exists. So when we say, I have to create my own reality, it's actually not that accurate, because the reality you want to create already exists. Because there's an infinite number of parallel realities that exist, because everything exists here and now. Think of it like television, for example. A television picks up on frequency, and what you see on it is whatever frequency it tunes to. In the same way, you know that all those different channels exist. They all exist right now, but you might be tuned to the Animal Planet because you want to watch some animals. So you're on Animal Planet, but you're like, yo, I want to go to History Channel and I want to learn about history. So you switch to the History Channel. Well, they both exist at the same moment. It's just about vibrational frequency. In the same way, all the different parallel realities you can imagine, they already exist. It is simply about you being in the vibrational state that you prefer and the vibrational frequency. And your vibrational frequency is a combination of how you think, how you feel, and how you act. And when you do that, you then start to experience more of what you want. So, the key to this is knowing you don't got to try to create your own reality. It already exists. It is simply about vibrational alignment. So, knowing this is very powerful. Now, I'm going to use this little analogy real quick because this also makes it a little bit easier to understand. In case you haven't seen my other parallel reality videos where I talk about this, this is an easy way to understand it. Think of it like a movie reel, where you have like the projector and you stretch out the movie film. The movie film that you stretch out, you can see these individual different frames. You might see somebody go like this, and then like this, and then like this, and then like this, and then like this. And you'd say, well, that's all one fluid movement. But in actuality, you can cut it out to different frames. You're like, that's a separate parallel reality, that's a separate parallel reality, that's a separate parallel reality. And as you are able to notice all those, you see that they all exist at the same moment because you're looking at all the different frames. It's just about which one are you focused on. And the light of the projection of consciousness, the light that goes through that projector, is in a way what our life is. It's going through these different moments. Now some of them will look very, very similar, but they're still different frames. And the same way, this parallel reality looks very similar to this parallel reality, but in actuality they're different. Even though it's a slight difference, any difference is a difference. So it's about understanding that, because when you start to see it like that, it also makes it easier, because then what you can do is you can more so align with the reality that you want. And one other thing I want to mention, I wrote it down, I know it. Okay, this is what I wanted to talk about. I'm not even going to edit that out, I'm just going to leave all that in. So, the truth with parallel realities is that we normally think that this is something we have to try to do. The truth of the matter is, you are shifting whether you're aware of it or not. You are always shifting. Even if you shift to the same thing over and over and over again. I keep creating the same thing in my life over and over again. Well, that's a story that you're telling yourself, and you continue to shift to the same thing over and over and over again. So the truth is, you don't have to learn how to do this. It's a natural byproduct of the way reality works. In the same way, someone may look at the law of attraction and be like, I want to manifest something in my life. Manifestation is a natural byproduct of reality. It's just, what are you manifesting? Are you manifesting lack? Are you manifesting the same thing over and over again? Well, it's about knowing that it's just naturally happening. Parallel reality shifting is happening whether you're aware of it or not. Now what we're able to do is to look at this to see, okay, now we're aware of how this works. How can I shift to the reality that I do want to shift to? So that's the key. Now, the first weird way to shift parallel reality timelines is to do something spontaneous, something you would never do before. And by doing that, you shift yourself to a different timeline. It could be something very small too. It could be you're driving to work today and you take the same route to work every single day, but today you decide to go a little bit different way. You leave a little bit earlier, you go a long way. And as you do so, you start to trigger, you start to see new things. It changes the timeline that you're on. Now, in general, there is a certain timeline that you're on with a certain momentum that you have with the actions that you're currently taking. The ways you shift to a parallel reality is through the choices that you make. So for example, if I go right here right now and I turn this way, that's a parallel reality. Choose this way, that's a different one. Now, the key is not, because you're shifting regardless, the key is, are you creating a greater degree of change from the current parallel reality you're on to the one that you want or the one that you're imagining? The greater degree of change is the key. So, when you look at that, it's not so much, I'm going to go turn left, I'm going to go turn right, because I could just keep doing this all day, and it doesn't really make much of a difference. But what I could do is, instead of this, I could just like walk out into the back, and right now I'm in the back of my backyard. It's really nice. It's really cool. But, so that was kind of random. But, here's the thing. I wasn't even planning on doing that. It was spontaneous. I've now shifted to a different parallel reality timeline. You see what I mean? That is the power of this. When you break outside of your bubble, new things begin to happen. And even Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about this. And he talks about quantum field, and he talks about stuff similar to this. Dr. Joe Dispenza has written books called How to Break the Habit of Being Yourself, You Are the Placebo, How to Becoming Supernatural, or something like that. He talks about how we think, feel, and act is what makes up our personality. Our personality creates our personal reality. If you want to change your personal reality, you have to go beyond what you think, beyond how you act, and beyond what you feel. In order to do that, you got to go outside your comfort zone. In the same way, when it comes to parallel realities, go outside your norm. Go outside what you normally do. What are you going to eat today? Eat something completely different. Maybe still keep it healthy, but eat something a little bit different. By doing that, you are shifting yourself to a different timeline, because the version of you that is normally in the autopilot mind is normally making the same choices over and over and over again. So by doing something you've never done before, you gain a new reference experience, and it shifts you to another parallel reality. Now remember, this is happening regardless, to be honest with you. You're shifting regardless, but create a greater degree of change, and you'll see that your life begins to change in a powerful way. So that is one weird way to go about this. And like I said, you could be like, I had never been to a yoga class before. I'm going to go to a yoga class. You could be like, I'm going to go and run around my neighborhood. Never ran around my neighborhood before. I'm going to go and just like take a cold shower. I'm going to go take a cold shower. These kind of things, especially because they involve the senses, are waking you up from the autopilot mind and are shifting you to a different parallel reality timeline. Now, the second weird way, really weird, of shifting parallel realities, it's kind of weird, but you'll see what I mean, is this idea. Now, normally, what we think of as the past is we think the past is set. The past is real. I had my past. However, understand that the past that you think of is simply in your memory. The future that you can imagine, the probable futures you can imagine, is in your imagination. It's in your brain. Neither of them are real right now. They exist as parallel reality versions, but right now in the present moment, as we change the kind of past that we remember, and we change the probable futures we imagine. So, one way to change the parallel reality timeline you are on right now is to imagine a different past. Change your past. Even right now, let me ask you a question. Can you remember a time in your past when you were very confident? Think about it. Think of a time you were really confident. I remember this time I used to work at Nordstrom's. I went in one day and I felt so confident. I went in, I helped all these customers, I did really well. There was some girl there that I wanted to talk to, so I just pushed myself to talk to her. It went really well, got her number. All of these things, this was a very confident feeling I had. So if I remember that memory, I'm like, yeah, I'm confident. You see what I mean? However, if I were to remember times in my past when I wasn't confident, like maybe a time I got rejected by a chick or something like that, or a time that I was going into work and wasn't able to, I had a commission job, that's why I mentioned it. I went into work and like things didn't go that well. Then guess what? That's also in the past. But based on your focus right now, that will determine and has a momentum that is in the present moment right now, causing people to be in a certain vibrational frequency. It is influencing how they think, act, and feel by their focus and their momentum. What I recommend to do is not necessarily even have to build yourself like, well, I was confident one day when I went into work and blah, blah, blah. Just to drop the past altogether. Your past does not equal who you are. It's just that people identify with their past. They identify with their story. So what I recommend to you is to realize you are not the result of your past. You are who you choose to be right now in the present moment. And the way that you drop your past is just by being aware of it and then choosing to let it go. It's that simple. The next time you do something and the autopilot mind kicks in, oh, you remember last time you hung out with this person? This is what happened, blah, 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 blah. Just observe it neutrally. It's not good. It's not bad. It just is. When something comes up and you see these little story that comes up in the mind, it's a neutral idea. But the moment you become aware of it is the moment you stop that perpetuation of that energy going over and over and over again. You are not the result of your past. You are who you choose to be. And as long as you don't keep bringing in that story over and over again, you will start to create a new pattern right now. And remember, the pattern that you have is how you think, how you act, you feel. When you change these three things, you change your whole entire life. But drop the past. Just saying. It's very powerful. And that is something you can do as well. Because you are literally in the moment right now. You got a different past. As you shift these parallel timelines, it's only in your insistence that the past is who you are. Well, I can't go do this because I've always experienced this before. This kind of person always comes into my life and I always attract this kind of money. So all this abundance that's coming in right now, I don't know what to do with all this. I've never experienced this, but that's all a story. Let go of the story. Allow it to be there. Observe it from a neutral spot. Yes, in the past that's what you experienced, but it's not relevant anymore. Just let it go. Just let it go. That's it. How do you let it go? You let it go by letting it go. How do you let go of a hot coal? You let it go. You know what I mean? You just let it go. It's that easy. But observe it neutrally. Let it go. Just make the choice. Let it go. So that is powerful. Third weird way of shifting to the parallel reality you want is one you probably heard me talk about before, but it is so powerful. Cannot even begin to explain to you how powerful this is. All right? It's very powerful though. So this is what it is. Imagine the best possible version of you that you can imagine. You're just killing it. You're killing the game. Killing the game, bro. What you're doing is you're going out there, you're abundant, you're attracting all these different types of people to you. Friends are like, I want to hang out with you. Girls, guys, whatever. They're like, hey, what's up? That's just naturally happening. You're killing the game. All right? So because you're killing the game, you can imagine this version of you. Now here's the thing. Here's the key. You normally think that version of you is like so far away from you. Here's the thing. That version of you already exists. Look at that version of you. The one that's killing the game. How are you acting, feeling, and thinking? What are your consistent thoughts? What are your consistent feelings? What are your consistent emotions and actions? When you look at these things, you can then see, how can I embody those emotions right now? How can I embody those actions right now? How can I embody those thoughts right now? And it's not so much that you're faking it until you make it. This is the key though. When you imagine the parallel reality version of you, which already exists by the way, what you want to do is you want to make sure that that version of you imagine is also connected to the heart. So, for example, I'm not going to imagine the parallel version of me that's like an NBA player that's like dunking on like LeBron James and stuff. Because one, that's not my passion. One, it's kind of outside my belief system. Quite a bit actually. But what you want to do is you want to imagine the version of you that is doing what you already love. So me, it's easy for me to imagine me traveling the world, speaking, killing the game, bro. Just kill the game. Being in front of like a lot of people and like, just like expressing myself and being in front of people in like an audience type thing versus just online, traveling, eating at like amazing restaurants, killing the game in the restaurants, bro. You know, like that's the way I view the best possible version of me. And I can feel into that because it's not that far off from where I currently am. And I can even maybe imagine a greater number of finance and how they say the cool stuff. And I'd be like, yo, that's me. And I can feel really good about it. And I can connect to it, but it's also connected to my heart, what I love doing. What do I love to do? This, yo, I killed the game, man. Making videos, I love making videos. So as you know, I make daily videos. I've made daily videos since February 2017. Always gonna remember that date, February 2017. Damn, I went daily on YouTube. So that's what it is. I love to kill the game with my YouTube videos, but the key is finding out what you love and imagining that as a part of it. So instead of you being like, oh, well, I imagine I win the lottery. Are you really passionate about winning the lottery? Come on, be honest with me. Like, are you passionate about going down to the 7-Eleven, buying your tickets, and then like waiting in earnest, like, I hope I win the money, I hope I win it? Most likely, that's not what you're really passionate about. What you're really passionate about is something else. And when you do whatever that is, the money comes anyways. It's just a natural byproduct because the abundance comes because the energy you're putting out is a high vibrational energy because you're like, this is my passion. And when you're in that passionate state, more can come to you, especially when you combine that passion with something that adds value to people. So I love making videos, but I don't just make videos about random stuff. I make videos that I think adds value to people. So that then comes back to me. It comes back to me in powerful ways. But find out what you're passionate about and then follow that because that will be what actually gets you the true abundance that you want. Most people, they ain't passionate about some things. They just think the money is what they're passionate about. You ain't passionate about money unless you're like Warren Buffett and you love stocks and you love to invest your money. And as most people aren't passionate about that, just to be honest. So the key is like being aware. And even if you look at Warren Buffett, like that dude has been literally studying the stock market since he was like 6 years, like no joke, 6 years old. So never make money the actual goal. Money is a byproduct of the passionate feeling that you're in and the value you add to other people. And when you see that, it's like, okay, well, then you actually go in the direction that is conducive to you because you're like, okay, well, it changes the question. Instead of how can I make quick money? How can I get very successful? It's like, how can I do what I love and know that eventually the abundance is going to come off the back end of that. That's the key to where the power is. So don't focus on the quick wins. Don't focus on even the money. The money is never the goal. Connect to what you're passionate about. The money will come. Cliche as it sounds, it's true, especially when you combine that with adding value to other people. So imagine the best possible version of you, connected to your heart. How are you being, doing, feeling, acting, all of these things? Be that version of you. Be it. And it's not faking it till you make it because that version of you is really who you are. Who you think you are might have all these layers and filters of this is how I am, this is how I have been in the past and all of these different things, but what you can decide to do is you can just decide to let that go. And when you let it go, everything changes. So remember, you want some weird ways to shift to parallel realities? I got 3 of them. First one, simply become aware that you can do something spontaneous. So spontaneous, like walking out your back door like I just did. And it's like, I've shifted timelines. I'm now in a different timelines where I'm a little bit more enthusiastic. And you can probably feel this. I'm shifted forever. The second one, let go of your past. Let go of your past and understand that your past is not equal who you are. You are who you choose to be. Thirdly, imagine the version of you that's killing the game. Killing the game. How are you acting? How are you feeling? What are you thinking about? Imagine that version of you connected to your heart. But my voice just cracked. Connection to your heart. And what you do is you then focus on being that version of you. When you do that, you're shifting to parallel realities. Understand also, you're naturally shifting to parallel realities whether you even know it or not. You don't got to try to do this. It's a natural byproduct of the way reality works. But the key to this video is weird, like a little bit different ways, and creating a greater degree of change because there's a certain timeline with momentum. You choose what that is, you know what I mean? So, also, in case you didn't know, one of the most powerful meditations I've made is on shifting parallel realities. It really is. And it's in the top of the description box below. It's a YouTube video. Read the comments to see what's possible. You see a whole bunch of comments. Some of them are funny comments. A lot of them are like, I've shifted. It feels so good. Oh my God, everything's different. 21 days, listen to that meditation. It will change your life. And it's going to be in the top of the description box below. Also, I've been doing a lot of Q&As on Instagram. So if you want to shift to the parallel reality where I'm doing more Q&As, then click right here, or you don't click, you follow me on Instagram. And by doing that, you've shifted to a reality where you get more of this kind of content. Just think about that, okay? And then you too could be killing the game, bro. So this is everything I'm sharing with you today. Other than that, I want to thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that little notification gear so that you can see the daily vids that I do. And other than that, as always, peace, much love, and namaste.